Are you okay over there?
I'm working on it.
Let me just pull it that way.
I mean, I gotta do everything around here, Dan.
Well, it's the way it goes sometimes, man. Coming in here, knocking my stuff over.
My bad.
This is Brett Harker as we welcome you back to the Friday edition of the Dan Scott Show. The official baseball practice starts end of next week, 26th, right?
On Friday, that's correct.
1 week from today, as a matter of fact. And next thing you know, we'll be throwing the first pitch at Latham Stadium and getting the 2018 baseball season underway. How you doing?
Doing well. I think this was my first night of sleep where I got more than 3 hours of sleep with baby Hudson. He's just a little over a month old. And him and Mama are doing well, just not sleeping a whole lot in the Harker household. The silver lining of that is I got an espresso machine for Christmas, and it's getting worn out pretty well. As a matter of fact, I loved it so much I bought one for my office. So I now am I'm a proud owner of 2 espresso machines. So I got it going. I'm actually doing really well. I'm a little jacked up right now.
I'm starting to get that impression. Yeah, since the last time we've talked to you, the new baby has come along, and great that he's doing well. Mama's doing well, and already got the letter of intent ready for him to sign for 2000 and whatever, right?
Yeah, Mike Buddy went ahead and shot that out, and I think it was 2032 or something like that. But I don't know if he's better have his mama's test-taking skills to fly at Furman. We'll put it that way. No, but he's doing well, and God's good, blessing us with a baby boy, and Emma's been an unbelievable big sister to him, and it's been fun. It's been fun to see.
Good. Well, as things are going well in the Harker household, obviously things went well in year one of the Brett Harker tenure at Furman University's baseball program, and now gearing up for season number 2. How different has this offseason been for you than your first offseason last year? It's
been very, very different. Obviously, you're trying to create momentum with your first offseason, get everybody bought in, and basically make that transition of the guard be smooth. And then you have a bunch of success your first year, and then the goal becomes, how do we sustain this momentum? You don't want to just let it fizzle out and become complacent. So that was the biggest thing, is keeping that momentum rolling, keeping the fan base excited, and most of all, just keeping the boys believing in what we're here to do, and which is the ultimate goal, which I'm sure everybody gets tired of hearing me say, but it's ended up 1,076 miles away from Latham Stadium, which is Omaha, Nebraska. And gosh, if you're not dreaming that big, why are we doing what we're doing, You
said something to me, it's been a week or so ago during a conversation we were having, that we're going to keep acting like we're a program bigger than we are, and eventually we're going to become that program.
Yeah, that's just the way I think it should be done. And the more people you get bought into that, you continue to get better recruits. And the bottom line is, if you have the right kids on the field and get the right leadership, you play 9 innings. All you got to do is touch home plate more than the other guy. It's not that complicated of a game. It doesn't matter what name they have on the front of their jersey. If we touch home plate more than them, eventually we get to go to Omaha. And that's our mindset, and that's the way we're going to run as long as I'm around here.
Makes it sound so simple. Sounds so simple. Beyond just the continuing and building the momentum for you personally, walking into the situation last year as a first-time head coach, I would imagine that everything, I don't know if easier is the right word, but fewer things to catch you off guard, maybe as you head into season 2?
Yeah, I would say so. And there's so many little things. And I was actually, and I've mentioned this a couple times, Todd Interdonato, Wofford's head coach, my Darth Maul, my nemesis, is actually my neighbor. He lives 2 houses down. So we talk on a daily basis. And one of his biggest things is it's a crash course. Once you become a head coach, it's a crash course. And every day you're learning what you would learn in a couple years as an assistant. And it's because, there's no manual. They don't hand you a script when you become head coach. And there's so many things that you need to learn. It's funny. You think you know the game of baseball because it's all I've ever done. And then all of a sudden, you're dealing with pinch hitters and DHs and stuff that you typically don't deal with unless you're a head coach. And it's just a crash course. There's a lot of things to learn, and just continue learning every day.
And not only that, but you're dealing with guys who think they should be getting more playing time, guys, and it's just the nature of the beast as a head coach. You're the one that, they say that crap flows downhill.
Yeah.
So it starts with you, and a lot of times it's going to end with you as well.
I think one of the biggest things, and me and my wife talk about it all the time, is how much of my job has nothing to do with what happens on the diamond.
Yeah.
And when you have, by the time you add in your coaches and support staff, when you're in charge of 40-plus people, a very small part of your job has to deal with the 56 games you play. And that's what's fun, though. You feel like you're creating a culture and you're creating something so much bigger than any one person, including myself. That's a lot of fun, and that's fun to buy into.
Yeah, and that's why I try to make sure that you don't have to be in charge of me except for the course of the baseball season itself. You don't have to deal with me during the off season.
That's Dan. There's nothing you could say more kind to me than that.
This is Brett Harker. He is the second-year baseball coach here at Furman University. As you came out of the fall, I know you were very optimistic. That's your mindset anyway.
Right.
But you were very optimistic about what you saw, and starting with the core of your team. You lose Carter Grote, which is going to be a huge loss for this team. You lose Cam Whitehead, but by and large, everybody else is back. So you're going to have a solid 8 or 9, even with the DH of guys who have a lot of experience and have played and won a lot of baseball games.
Yeah, I would think some of the strengths of our team are going to be our outfield depth. We have a really good returning outfield. Jabari Richards moving from right field to left field. He's a completely different human being in left field. I feel like an idiot for not doing that move sooner. He's done really, really well. And then obviously Landon Kay out there is as good as they get.
Well, there was a guy in left field named Carter Grote.
Yeah, he was pretty good too. Yeah. But you would think at least in practice or something we would have tried Jabari over there. And then you have David Webble returning. He had that injury last year. He was a spark plug as a freshman. We're excited about his sophomore campaign. And then I continue to tell you, a name to keep on your radar is Ben Anderson. The kid came in from the Atlanta area, played for the 643 organization, which is one of the best in the country. And the kid is just a flat-out ball player. He's a guy that will have a chance to play for a long time in his pro career. He's an all-around very, very good baseball player. And then I would say the next one is, anytime you lose 2/3 of your weekend rotation, people are sitting there going, man, you lose Gaddis and Quarles. What are you guys going to do? I feel really good about our starting rotation. Really excited about that. We're just going to need our bullpen to step up, and I feel like every mid-major says that, and a lot of Power 5 say that as well. The pieces are there in the bullpen, just maybe not the experience being there. So we have a chance to be really good. I'll tell you, as I get reminded every day, we have a very challenging schedule. It's going to be fun, but I think we got the right pieces in place to have success in that schedule. As long as we're gritty. If we become complacent and become soft and think that, we got some experienced players, we're going to roll out there and win, we won't be very successful. But if we go into it thinking we're the underdog and have something to prove and go out there and just be tough, I think we got a chance to be good.
Yeah, we always talk about, you win the midweek and win the non-conference games to help get toward that magic 40. Well, your non-conference games this year include the usual 2 with Clemson, the usual 2 with South Carolina, a 3-game series with North Carolina State, and a 3-game series at Wichita State.
And you're mixing in Charleston again this year. Yeah. We haven't done that in a while. Yeah, it's a good challenge. It really is. And like, I continue to tell everybody the names that don't jump off the page, which is just because down here we don't know much about the North, but Marist and Delaware State, they were both regional teams and won their conference and almost snuck out of that regional, beating some big boys. So one of the most interesting stats is 11 of our first 12 games are against regional teams. The one game that's not in our first 12 is the University of South Carolina, which they're pretty good too.
Yeah, so I've heard that.
Yeah, they're okay. So it's a great challenge. It's one that honestly, in my 4 years here, we always play a good schedule. I don't know if we've ever played one like this. It's a different take at it. Let's see how battle tested we could be. So maybe when we run into UNCG and that offense, because look, they're good. You know, I've had several scouts tell me that they're one of the best teams in the Southeast that they've seen. When we run into them, you know, we're not going to be shocked because we've been playing quality opponents all year. And the bottom line is we need to win the Southern Conference to get into a regional and shock somebody and make our trip to Omaha.
You talked about replacing 2/3 of your rotation. The one guy you have back is Grant Sherman, who from about the third point of the season last year was just phenomenal. He and Gaddis just gave you an incredible 1-2 punch. Coming out of the fall, your intention was Heath Hawkins and Jake Crawford in 2 and 3 or 3 and 2.
Right.
Is that still the plan going forward?
Yeah, that seems to be, and it'll all shake out here towards the end. The easiest job I have is writing out the starting lineup because the guys prove who should be there. But as of right now, when we left break, that was kind of the way. Those three had taken over. And Hunter Baker, give credit where credit is due. The kid went this offseason, lost a ton of weight, looked like he basically turned his work ethic completely around. And honestly, statistically, had the most dominant fall of anybody we had on the mound. So if he can continue to do that and keep Nick Verbeck healthy, those are two options that you have for starters as well. And that's why I sit there and say, you know, as long as those guys stay healthy and do what they have done this fall, I actually think we have more depth in starting pitching this year than we had last year. Now, when I told Coach Davis that, I thought he was going to fight me because we lost Gaddis and Quarles. But I'm just talking about pure depth. I feel like, you know, that's 5 or 6 guys. When you include Matthew Lazaro, the freshman, that reminds me of what Sherman was as a freshman. Just can mix speeds, keeps the ball low. You mix in that guy too, and you're sitting there going, you know, we got a chance to. All you got to do is have 4, and we got to, you know, that I just named 6 or 7 of them. We have a chance, but they got to do it when the lights turn on, and we understand that. Lord knows I know that.
Yeah.
But going into it, it seems like more options to me, which then spills over to those guys that don't become our 4, can become long relief or options to shorten up the game on the back half of it.
So you're taking Hawkins out of the bullpen, and over the last third of the season a year ago, he was just dominant. I don't think anybody will forget the game on Sunday that sent it to a winner-take-all, him coming out of the bullpen first and third, nobody out, against that great offensive team of Greensboro and striking out 3 successive hitters. It was, I'm just getting chill bumps again thinking about it.
And thinking about the way he pitches with emotion and I got goosebumps running up my body right now too. It's he's an exciting kid to have on the mound because of what he brings, and it'll be interesting to see him do that and be able to sustain that. You know, for 5, 6, 7, hopefully 8 innings. You know,
so you're taking him out of the bullpen, and that's a big piece there to put him into the rotation. So, you know, what is your bullpen looking like, and how many of those young arms do you think really have a chance to make a significant contribution?
Yeah, and it's all going to shake out on, like I said, I named all those potential starters. Obviously, when the 4 shake out, the other ones will immediately fall into, you know, first out of the pen. And then Tyler Kimbrell, who had a good year for us last year, is healthy. He'll be a big part of it. I will tell you a dark horse that emerged out of absolutely nowhere, and I think is going to be a huge part. And honestly, I don't know in what capacity, but Logan Taplett has become the jack of all trades. He has done really, really well behind the plate. He plays a ridiculous third base while Jake is pitching, and we stuck the guy on the bump because he pitched in high school, and he's a 90, 91 kind of guy with a sharp slider, so he could be a potential late inning guy as well. We got a guy by the name of Seth Chestnut that coming out of high school, he had what I thought was not even close to the best breaking ball in South Carolina. So that's a guy that you can bring in there and spin it for an inning or two and really give some guys some troubles. So we got some options. Jordan Beatson is a freshman that's a sidearm guy that throws pretty hard from down low. And I think we have some different options and some guys that I think are just naive enough to not care. And that's a big thing. Like they're not making the moment bigger than it is. Roll them out there and see. And you want them to have early success just so they can build some confidence and realize that doesn't matter if you're playing at Yankee Stadium, Latham Stadium, or your high school field. Once the game starts, it's 60 feet 6 inches, and the rest is obsolete. You're battling against that guy, and that's the mentality. We try and compete every day. whether we're playing foosball in the back or where we're at practice. So when a game rolls around and we're at Clemson, it's just another day of competing and not get shell shocked.
Visiting you with Brett Harker here in studio as we preview the beginning of baseball practice a week from today. It'll open up at Latham Stadium, and then the season opens up February the 16th, that Friday. It's always the same week that pitchers and catchers report to spring training in the big leagues.
A lot of baseball, yeah.
So looking forward to that. When people come to Latham Stadium this season, they are going to notice even more upgrades. The place looks fantastic. It started with the 888 purple seats that were installed as the season went on last year. Of course, the video scoreboard, and now there's been even more improvements.
Yeah, we put it up. We put up a purple purple padded wall going all the way down there. There's no more chain link fence to be seen at our stadium, and it gives it more of a pro feel, more of a Power 5 feel. It was a much needed upgrade, both aesthetically and for safety. I mean, we play in a small ballpark, and our outfielders get back to that fence pretty quick. And to be honest with you, that fence might be the oldest thing on campus. It was pretty bad. So we were able to get a really nice fence and put some graphics on it. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things I've had in this year and a half as head coach is making some decisions on colors. As silly as that sounds, that we were either going to go green chairbacks and green outfield wall and keep it more Wrigley Fieldish, and honestly that was the way I was leaning, and the only way I swayed to purpling out everything was we're just continuing to try to get the best commit the best 16 to 18 year olds in the country, and the bottom line is they like flair, baby.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with the Furman purple and bring a pop to our little stadium. I'm a little more traditionalist. I like things being a little more subtle and classy. But I made that decision just because I thought it was another little way that we can continue to advance our program and appeal to the younger generation and bring in better recruits, and stuff like that matters. Mm-hmm. As silly as that sounds, stuff like that matters. And it looks really, really good. It does. We're excited about it.
Yeah, our little ballpark is growing up.
Yeah, it is, and we're looking to add a media/team meeting room to our indoor facility so we can meet as a team and do tier seating so we can go over tape of the upcoming pitcher or maybe things that we did, and we're in the middle of keep our fingers crossed adding a center field camera for our in-game broadcast to put the fan right in the middle of the action and have more of a pro feel while you're watching games streaming at Latham Stadium, which I think would be one of the biggest improvements that we could do for our fans.
New press box.
And a new press box.
Pardon me, I got a little choked up.
If you're out there and you want to give $3 million for a new press box, you let me know.
Yeah, you do that, or get in touch with me, and I'll pass the message along. Yeah, it sounds kind of strange, but from a broadcast standpoint, I'm really happy to see the purple outfield fence. Not that we have a lot of cheapy home runs in our ballpark, especially the left and left center, but when you've got a chain link fence and you can see the grass and everything behind it, sometimes it's hard to tell on a ball that drops right over the fence, did it drop behind it or did it drop in front of it? So now it's obvious the ball's going to disappear behind that purple fence. I have enough trouble keeping up with things as it is. I did not need that extra pressure, so thank you.
Yeah, and we did that for you.
I know you did. I know you did. Anything else from an aesthetic standpoint on the horizon?
That's it for right now. We just continue to try and expand our branding, and we're launching a club. Actually, probably at the beginning of next week, you're going to start seeing flyers go out and handwritten notes. We're launching the 1076 Club, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's our version of what Clemson would call their IPTE or different universities have their versions, and it's letting people invest back into this program, and we have some really cool things. We'll start a club where the different apparel, if you get into the 1076 Club, is Furman baseball, but then it has the 1076 Club decal on it, whether it's stickers for your car, whether it's T-shirts, hoodies, all kinds of really neat things that we're excited about. I haven't formally announced it, but we're doing the Upstate Diamond Classic every other year now. So we will not have an Upstate Diamond Classic this year. We'll have one next year, and the reason is it's planning a 500-person wedding in which you're asking people to come to your wedding and pay for it. That's a big deal. That takes 3 or 4 months of my life, and Coach Smith told me that would be one of my biggest headaches, and he was spot on that one. So I'm trying to take a little off my plate and do it every other year. But this gives people a chance that our fans, our supporters of our program, our alumni that maybe couldn't come back on a Tuesday night in February to come to a dinner, to invest back in our program, and in return get some really cool gear that they can sport and support our program.
Is that, in your view, a calculated risk on your part? Because that dinner was set up by Ron all those years ago as a supplement to the baseball budget,
right?
And so you're not going to have it. As you said, you're going to do it every other year. Is that a calculated risk on your part?
It is. I will tell you, as awesome as that event is, and it is, the overhead is it's very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we can get people bought into this program or this 1076 club, and they get apparel in return and things in return with very little overhead, I think from a business standpoint, it could really financially help our program in a way that the head coach isn't spending 4 months planning it as well. So I think in the long run, it gives more people the opportunity to give back instead of maybe just people in the upstate.
Well, one of the things that we're going to try to do to help that is we're going to start a podcast that will run through the season. And for those who join the 1076 Club, they will get access to that podcast probably via email, 48 hours before it is dropped and goes live for the general public.
Yep, that's something we had talked about, and we'll have to set up the infrastructure of all that, but
I can handle it.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you'll be.
All
able
you have
to
to do is sit down
us.
and talk.
There you go.
You don't have to think.
But I think that'd be a cool advantage on people getting to see what's going on in our program. Like you said, we'll figure out the timeline on that, but just a little bit earlier than everybody else.
Yeah, we're visiting with Brett Harker to kind of get a jump on baseball season. Anything? Your staff stayed the same during the off season,
yep,
which is a little unusual.
It is. All 4 coaches returned. We added a director of baseball ops, Aaron Lesiak. So we actually added to our staff. So we're excited about that. We're a big boy now. We got a director of baseball ops to help out with stuff. But the staff stayed the same, and we're excited about that to continue. Anytime you have any kind of change from your volunteer assistant up, it's just always there's such a break-in period, and when you don't have to have that, it sure does help.
Yeah, I mean the good thing about having Kimmel back for a second year is you've got the natural guy to pick on the bus trips, right?
Yeah, he takes it as well as anybody. He's a champ, man. He does a great job for us.
Yeah, I just love the dynamic of the coaching staff, and it's a group of young guys.
Yeah,
and normally the dynamic is it's an older guy and a group of young guys, but you're 4 young guys, and somehow you figured out to make it work.
Yeah, well. I'm 33 and I'm the oldest one on staff, so you do the math on that one.
Yeah.
It's fun, and I tell recruits all the time, we're just young enough to keep up with you, so don't try and get anything by on us.
Anything you can do, we've already done. Right?
Absolutely.
All those mistakes. Well, we're looking forward to the season getting underway. Practice starts again a week from today, and pretty soon we'll be on the bus and rolling to various and sundry parts of the world and seeing how this baseball team and this season's going to develop.
Getting on a plane this year, Dan. That's the first one for us in a long time.
Right.
We're excited about that. But if you're interested in the 1076 Club and that's something that perked your interest, please shoot me an email. I'll personally send you some stuff on it. We'll be getting that stuff out probably early next week, and we're really excited about that. I know, Dan, that somewhere out there, my cousin, who's the biggest fan of Furman baseball, Josh Rivera, is listening out there. Josh, we love you, and keep supporting us.
All right, there you go, Brett. Thank you, buddy.
All right, thank you, Dan.
That is baseball coach Brett Harker. We'll be back to close out the show right after this. Don't go away.